A front is just an area where the temperature changes relatively rapidly across a fairly short geographical distance. In this drawing of a pretend front across southern Minnesota, the red lines represent temperature, and I've labeled every other line with a temperature in degrees Celsius. In this area here, the lines are closely spaced together, and we have a front. If you were traveling along this line here, you'd experience a change in temperature much more rapidly than, say, if you were traveling along this line here. If the colder air is overtaking the warmer air, it's a cold front, and vice versa for a warm front. Just how quickly the temperature needs to change over a certain distance to constitute a front is somewhat arbitrary. Fronts are important to learn about because they have predictable weather characteristics associated with them. Once you know these, when you see a front on a weather chart while flight planning, you know what to expect. In general, you'll find changes in temperature, wind speed and direction, and moisture when traveling across a front. Cold fronts are shown on weather charts with these blue triangles. Since cold air is denser than warm, the cold air stays along the surface and forces the warmer air ahead of it up. This lifting can lead to showers and thunderstorms along and ahead of the front. Fast-moving cold fronts can produce the most severe thunderstorms, called squall-line thunderstorms, ahead of the front. After a cold front passes, you can usually expect cooler weather and blue skies. Warm fronts are shown on charts with these red semicircles. Warm fronts are generally less steep than cold fronts and produce less severe weather. The overtaking warm air is less dense than the cold air, and so it slides up and over it. This lifting usually leads to low stratus clouds, slow, steady rain, and poor visibilities. If the cold air is below freezing, then freezing rain is a potential hazard around a warm front, as rain falls from the warmer air into colder air and is cooled. When a warm and a cold air mass push up against each other, we have a stationary front, depicted by alternating red semicircles and blue triangles. These fronts generally produce weather similar to a warm front, with steady precipitation and low clouds. They usually move slowly and can hang over an area, producing less than VFR conditions for days, hence the name stationary front.